Hello and welcome back to Farming Simulator 22 on Castelnaud. We're carrying on with our farm build. So this is episode 3, so if you've not checked out the first 2, I definitely recommend doing that because we basically started from scratch with 5 million and we're building a farm. And I'm kind of trying to showcase how I do it step by step, not making it too long-winded of course. But I'm enjoying it, I'm enjoying it. I think I'm taking a lot of inspiration from everyone else inside my Discord. I mentioned in the last episode, if you want to join in and showcase your farm that you build, jump into the Discord server. There's a channel just for it. It's called Farm Builds. I have a look at them and I'm taking some inspiration from them and trying to build a decent farm at the end of it. Also, I'm trying to hit 30k. Really want to hit 30,000 subscribers. It's incredible if I get there. So if you're not subscribed, please do. And also make sure you hit the like button on the video if you're enjoying it. Right, so I have actually done quite a lot since the last episode. I did say that I was going to do quite a bit, and I've put a lot of textures down. Really, it's not the finished article, obviously. I've got a lot of textures still to do, but I kind of just doing it in stages in different areas. It will take a lot of time off camera to finish this farm off, because I'm doing like layer texture painting, you could say. It's obviously not just a straightforward process. We've put a lot of the fundamental buildings down. There is still a few more to do, but I have actually put something else down. I'll show you in this video, and I'll talk to you exactly what I've done. But I just decided to put the textures down just to give a good idea of the layout of the farm mainly. And then as I went, I was just chipping away. I think I spent like 2 hours last night just trying to get through the farm build really and try and get it done. Now I am recording this the same day as episode 2 is being released on the channel, so if there's any comments in there or anything, I haven't seen them yet, and if there's any pictures being shared in the Discord server, I haven't had a chance to look at them yet, so I won't be sharing any pictures in this episode. But what I want to do first is I want to drive around. I want to drive around and get a feel for the farm, because I think that's always important as you're building one, just to see kind of the bumps, because I did mention in the last episode it was important for me to have a bit of a difference when it comes to variation in height on the farm. And I think there's some really good points where I've done that, because obviously like this yard here, it's quite flat, and I like this being a flat yard, just this area here, because it's like the main entrance, it's where the farmhouse is, a lot of the storage points for like the equipment and the tractors. But around the farm I want it to kind of like look like it's aged and weared, and I've built it on different points of elevation basically within the farm. So kind of because of that, there'll be bits that dip in, you'll have potholes and stuff like that, and I've tried to do that so it's not just a smooth ride. So what I've done is I've got obviously the Fiat Agri that I brought into the last episode, put a bit of dirt on it. I want it to feel like I'm farming. I love this Chieftain trailer by 4D Modding. One, because of the textures, the dirt textures are absolutely brilliant, but also the mud flaps and everything like that, they just move, so it just feels quite real. So we're going to jump in this and we're going to drive around. We're going to try and get a feel for it. We'll take a bit of a loop through the farm. So this shed here will probably be like an important storage point, but I do like it that we can get out. Now down there, obviously I've made a few changes. We'll talk about that in a second when it comes to the pig area. But this is obviously not going to be like this. I'm going to put grass down. The last thing I'll do when this farm is built is put trees and bushes down. So I know it looks quite bare and maybe open in areas, but if I've got open areas, I'm going to put like a woodland area. Like it might be that in the middle of the field or something, we'll have a woodland patch on the edge of these roads. Like I don't want them sharp kind of edges where that kind of cliff's face is, you could call it. I want to put a few trees there that kind of hides it and blends it in well. So I know you're probably thinking, well, I'd be thinking if I was watching this, that doesn't look as good as it could. Remember that the last stages will be to put in things like bushes, and trees, and mainly a lot of the grass as well when it comes to our grass fields. So I did move the cow shed as well, so we'll go down that way. I do need a bit that comes out there. I need to make this so I can get from that kind of track bit, the cobblestone, to that one around the edge of the field. This cow shed's all done now in regards to the placing, especially with the area outside where you can see the cows now can roam. If I just go outside camera, you can see it a little bit better. So I did put the fences down that matched the same fencing that came with this barn, so I kind of wanted to keep it intact, and I like the look of that fencing anyway. It's not too bad, and I made it a nice open area. Now the cows won't roam all that way, and where they do roam the most, I've kind of made sure that the grass looks a bit tired, and you know, there's quite some muck marks in there, animal mud and all that kind of texture. But yeah, let's go through this. And if you can tell as well, I did move this shed. So originally it was probably about like here. And what I decided to do, because like I said, I want the different elevations on the farm, I made this part lower down, and I built this shed again here, so it kind of dips down. It's like a natural drop down coming to this shed from that, so there's a lower elevation than that point. And I think it works well, because the grass fields that I've actually kind of put the base texture down for, I've made them so they're not even. So if I stand probably on, maybe on this wall, if I get up on it, yeah, just about, you can just about tell that, because obviously you don't want it to be too crazy, but they're not always going to be flat, are they? The fields, grass fields, tend to have bumps and areas in that dip and stuff. So I tried to do that just so when we put the grass in, and this is an actual proper field that's we're going to tend for obviously getting grass silage or anything like that, hey, it just feels a little bit better when we're obviously working in it. So I've got different elevations within the field. And this section over here, you can see it's a nice natural flow. This is how it already was. I haven't changed anything over here. I just love the view. I mean, the view, I think it's a perfect place to build a farm. There's a point when you come out and you can just see the castle just up there. And yeah, it's spot on. Spot on. Right, so let's carry on driving. I do love the texture on here as well, the wet mud texture. It's like it's definitely an animal mud texture, but it really does help a lot, because I've put it around here. You can see just on the outside to the left here, you can see a lot of it, which you'd probably see because that entrance there, the cows can just come in and out of to that side, as you can tell. So I've made sure it's all wet and muddy. And then this section here is how it's already built. So it's part of the barn basically. So you've got a cattle grid and a cattle grid. So obviously you can drive over here. The cows can come basically out of this point here if they want to. So I can keep this open permanently, for example, because the cows can naturally then go out into the field, but we can drive across it still. So I do like that. Now I do think this just highlights exactly what I'm looking at for elevation. You can see that I've got a higher point there. This is higher, but they're all different levels, and I do like that view. I do like that view coming out of there. I think it's pretty nice. And imagine when it's all finished, we're farming in it, coming out of this cow shed. That turn there is going to be a problem. I did want to try and kind of make it more rounded going up, but I can't, because this is the part of the shed that's built into this fence is with the shed. So I have to go to this point. So the only thing I could do was maybe move it further out that side. So I'll have a think about that, because I think it is a bit of a tight corner, so not ideal. I just love these bumps. Like this kind of thing going over cattle grids is perfect. It's exactly what I'm looking for. Don't know if I'm going to make that turn. It is on the limit, that turn is. I mean, we can still do it, but if we get anything bigger, then yeah, it's going to be a challenge. And this is good going up. I have put animals on all the animal sheds just to get an idea of what it's going to look like and where they roam. And this is what we put into in the last bit of the last episode. We put the bunkers in and the silo. So if I'd say we carry on, go up here and just try what this is like with the trailer. Go on, girl. Definitely doesn't like it. It's a struggle. You can see I've got quite a lot of slip going on, but it will get there. This is a full trailer of manure. Bit of a challenge. So we did have a pothole here, and I think it's fine enough now. It's not too bad. Yeah, that'll be fine. And then this part is technically finished. There's a few little bits I want to do with it. Obviously, I want to put quite a lot more detail into it, so some placeables and decorations and stuff. But this is the main part that I've sorted out. I've done a lot of changing around here, and I think this part here now would be what I class as finished before I put bushes and trees down, if I do put anything down here. And I do like this middle bit now that I've put the textures in with the obviously kind of a lot of the wet mud. And the reason I did that is because it's going to naturally gather in here because of the dip inside here. It's going to be wet, it's going to gather, And I've tried to simulate that with the textures. And what I've done is, like this bit here, this is a bump that I've put in. But also because of that, I've kind of got a bit of a runoff that goes down. So you can see that I've put in a texture of the wet mud, and it runs off down here. And it's them small details that just make a difference. They really do. So we'll have to put more of them in around the farm as soon as we find places like that. I just think it would naturally would run down there, make it a bit muddy, and then it collects somewhere. So I've tried to do that. But you can see, what I think this view's stunning from here. I mean, with the castle, the dip between, I just think it's perfect. And there's the pig barn. So, pretty nice. So if we now drive down here, you can see what this bit's like, which is now all finished textures-wise, grass-wise. But we'll have a good look around. I'll get into flight mode and have a look around, a proper look around. I think all we need to do now is pretty much turn right, because I have got a few bumps along this way. And you can see the mud texture as well I've put around the edge of the obviously the silo, the slurry pit. And again, a few textures when it comes to mud just here. So let's go up to flight mode and I'll be able to show you a little bit better. Right, so if you see, I've started kind of like the mud dropping down here. It branches off this way, collects there, and then we'll collect over there. And then I've kind of done it where it's running down this way as well. The textures are all over here fine, I'm happy with them. Got mud where the animals come out. Grass and everything's fine. That bit's all sorted. That all still needs a lot of work. The grass fields need work. That still needs all texturing. I have changed the way that I've done this a little bit more. I've kind of layered this a little bit differently. So I did just originally put in, obviously, the rock texture, but I tried to mix it with a bit of dirt, as you can see there. Some dirt texture, just to blend it in a bit better. And then different variations with the grass growth. So there I've got like cut grass, and it won't grow, that won't. It'll stay like that. And then I've obviously got the fully grown and stuff. And it's important to do that, especially in areas where you think you won't get to. Definitely. So talking about the mud runoff again, you can see that it collects a lot here because it's running down this embankment kind of bit. And the same there as well. And they make such a difference. Such a difference. I do like that. So talking about the grass and trying to showcase what I'm doing, you can see that I've put down here like layered textures. I've got the cobblestone. I've got this kind of grassy, not cobblestone, so it's a bit more worn, and then kind of a gravel with a bit of moss in. And then every time I've put that down, I've put down the cut grass that won't grow, technically on that kind of texture. But then in certain areas I've put longer grass because it kind of collects around corners and especially around pillars like that, and it just makes it pop, doesn't it? It makes it feel a little bit real. And I've done it around the sides here. You can see that I've put longer grass and cut grass just to see that you're going to get a lot of growth. Now, this building here is technically an add-on to that pig building, and it's for piglets. So I've added this on and I expanded this out because it actually dropped about here, and I've moved this whole ridge out. So now it's really very close to the road, which is why I want to try and hide it with a few trees down this side. But I'm happy with how it's turned out. And I put a bit of a hole here, kind of like an area where it's obviously kind of worn away. But this is the piglet area, so it's pretty cool. You can put piglets in here. I think it holds about 30. So I like that. I do like that. I think it was definitely worth adding on. And then around the side, just grass, because obviously it would grow. We'll put a few trees in there, maybe a few bushes and so on. And then I'd say definitely from around this building onwards down there, that all still needs quite a lot of textures. You can see that I've mixed it up a bit though. There is a bit of layer textures going on. I've put some of this grassy, it's a grassy mossy texture on dirt with the cobblestone, but it blends in so well that you kind of don't notice it unless you're proper down like this. Now you can see that's a texture, and then that's another texture. So I'm liking that. That still needs a bit of work with grass and everything. Kind of like the longer grass. We'll probably do that in this episode. And then over here, you can see that I've finished it off as well. So I'd say this section here, just this bit, where the pig in that barn is done. I just need to put, obviously, some trees down, bushes down, anything like that. That needs a little bit more texturing and done, stuff like that. Now, all of it will still need decorations. That's all going to happen. This will need texture, layer texturing at some point. We might be able to do that in this episode. The grass fields, if we look at them, this is what I've kind of gone with. Right, so this section here was a bit of a headache. I wasn't entirely sure what to do with it, because I don't want it encroaching too much, you see. But what I was thinking is I could just make like this section here a bit of a woodland area or something with a lot of trees in, or even like round here, so it kind of hides it off and makes it pretty good. But this is kind of like too much of an open area. I feel like it needs to be filled with something, and especially with this like section here, it's like a triangle of nothing, of where we could have grass. But I need to get to the front of the bunker, so I've got to do something to get to these. Now, what would have been better is if I put them 2 bunkers back to back, one facing that way and one facing that way. But I don't think I'd fit them in. I'd have to find smaller bunkers to do that. So it might be an idea to have a look for some smaller bunkers and try and put them back to back. But I'm happy with this side. I'm not going to put a through road, I don't think, going through this way. I think if I want to get to that track from that direction, I just have to drive through the silo or go round or something along them lines. Yeah, it's the last bit of the jigsaw, really, I'm trying to figure out. But overall, I'm happy with it. I think it looks pretty good. It definitely looks better now there's a few textures in. You can see this section here looks much better because I've obviously finished my layer texturing and putting the grass down. So that's just decoration, trees and bushes left. This needs a bit more layer texturing, decorations, bushes, trees, everything. And then obviously there's a lot of stuff going to go on around the edges. Grass fields need finishing, and we need to try and get in a few more items. So I think we'll start with placing some items. Now, like I said, I want to fill up some of the space around here, and I don't know where to do it. And I'm trying to think, do I place it close to the cow sheds, or do I use the space up? Let's have a look. Probably should have done this before I started doing some of the terrain editing as well. Thinking about it, I mean, it'd be nice if it doesn't adjust it too much and it makes it still look pretty good. But we do need a silo extension. So what we're looking for is an extension for slurry, so a bit like this. So that's got to go really close to that side. I mean, we could technically fit it there. It's a strange one how it won't allow me to go too close. I mean, just trying to think, the milkers are obviously going to use quite a lot. It'd be good if I can cart it, take it out and cart it, but I don't know if some of these silos don't allow you to tip in, they allow you to take out. So yeah, it's a weird one. And I have got, you know, some other options for this, because that's a lot of slurry. That one holds a lot of slurry. So it might be something we have a look at mod-wise. Because I don't think I need one that big. Because I'm sure I've got some silo basins as well and stuff like that. I mean, I'm sure I can tip into that. I'm sure of it, because I've got the 2. Yeah, I have. I mean, we could put a slurry basin down, and then if we do get full, we could actually manually cart it to somewhere. So manually, like, fill up a tanker and tip it, and it's in that way, it's another job for the farm, which I do like the sound of. But where do you put it? Where do I put this? Do I stick it up here, out of the way, across the road? I mean, it does look quite good there. It's not a bad spot, is it? And I do like them slurry basins. So that's an option. I'm just trying to look now to see if they're smaller. That's the same size. Have we got 2 smaller silage bunkers? I mean, they're smaller, so we could probably put 2 of them back to back. But I feel like they look like Lego bricks. I don't know why. They're not. I don't know. I prefer this kind of. It looks real. It's got like a, you know, a bit of fade to it and a bit of wear on it and dirt textures and the blankets that are hanging over the side. I just like the look of them more. So I wouldn't want to get rid of that. Ideally, like, that's the same type, but it looks a bit more worn. Yeah. See, that's the one we've gone for. Let's just have a look if I turned it that way. That's weird. They can naturally snap together. I'm just trying to think. If I put one there, would I be able to fit it? I might be able to fit them back to back just about. It'd probably work out better if I did that. I'll tell you what, let's have a go at that. Let's remove these out and put them in. I think I'll go for this faded look as well. And we'll try our best. So we could probably go up like that. That's good to know. Okay, so that's one done. See, what I could have done is put two bunkers next to each other, like the big ones. But I kind of think that CCM we're never going to do that much of. And if we did want to put, say, grass silage in or maize silage, one of them's probably going to be our main focus. So the big one has like maize silage in, for example. Then we get grass silage, and then we have a bit of CCM. So I think we've picked the right one size-wise. It's still a big bunker though. Like, I think we could have probably got away with putting a smaller one in. But I do want to keep a gap just because I don't want to mess anything up with having three bunkers next to each other like that. But I think that looks better than what we had before, personally. So let's just paint that down. Let's just, for now, we'll just paint this in like that. Like I said, I am not entirely sure what I'm going to do when it comes to the boundary here. I do want to still be able to get round it, and I think that would be the maximum we'd need. So we could just like make ourselves a bit more space over here to turn into grass or whatever else. We wouldn't need that much, would we? And I think that's probably fine as well. Yeah, I think that's much better, definitely. So it just needs obviously texturing, all that kind of stuff, and then we'll make sure we put some decorations in and fill it up. And if this is just too big, we might have to try and just separate it somehow, even if it's a few trees or whatever. But yeah, I think that's probably the best bet. Now that looks a bit too much of a bump there for me, especially if I want to put something down. So let's see if we can smooth that area just out a little bit. Just a touch. Yeah, that's much better. So we're going to have to definitely put in a silo when it comes to some slurry. Now, I do like the basin. I do. It's 450 and we can tip into it. So it means that from that point there, because I think that might have a slurry point at some point, somewhere anyway. Could be that there, and if that is, that's not easy. But that will have a slurry point, obviously. This also has a slurry point just at the side there. And the pigs have a... Don't know if they have a slurry point. That is a good question. I know. Yes, they do. They have it there. So we've got a load of slurry that we could take out, get a nice sized tanker and put into this, whatever we decide to put in. Now, the basin, I think, looks nice. It's different, and when it's full, that'll look pretty cool. But we've also got, you know, some other options, and they will allow us to store and tip into it. So we've got the pumps and hoses ones as well. So that's 600,000 litres. I do like this style, though. Like, that's 500,000 litres. I really do like that style. I think that's pretty cool. And as you can see, we can tip and take out from it, so it can be like an overfill point. Do we want one that's sitting upwards above the ground? One that's like that? Or do we want the basin? Oh, choices. That's probably too big. Do you know what? I'm going to go with the basin. I like it, and I think it's definitely different. Not something I've picked before, and because of that reason, I'm going to go with it. Now I'm thinking, do I want to encroach onto this area? Probably not too much because of that bunker. I'd say we stick to this grass. And it's going to do some terraforming. Definitely is. So we need to make sure we smooth it out on the front at least, and the sides we can work out, can't we? But I like that. I think that's a a decent addition. Because we're going to need to, you know, kind of drive up to it. And if we just smooth out around the edges, I mean, what we could do, actually, thinking about it, is we could raise around. So it looks like a protective kind of wall where the cows can't get to, if that is something we want to not separate off with a fence. So it kind of just separates it in that regards. Just a few bumps like that makes it look a little bit different. I know that's probably too much, I think, or we'll see what it looks like. We'll see what it looks like. I kind of like it, I do. I like how it's got... I mean, if we tidy that up, obviously, and smooth it out on them edges, especially there, where it's like too bobbly, just a little bit, you know, after we've put textures in, I think that might look pretty cool. As long as we have the front flat to obviously drive up to, I think that's alright. I like that. And then if we do decide to mow this area, we probably want to make it so we can actually get a mower across it. So yeah, I like that. I think that'll work. A lot of work to do to obviously get it looking spot on, but I think it'll work. So if we branch that across like that, just so we get an idea of how we've extended out. And I like that section there, because obviously we can put some grass in and some texture in and all that stuff. So I'll leave the texture on that for now, but at least we've put the building in, and I like just where it's sitting. I think that's perfect. It's kind of like a nice sweet spot. We get the pigs. It's not too far of a drive from the pigs, from these, from that, and that's a nice point for that. So, don't need any more sheds. We don't need any more silos for now. There is one that I was looking at. I was even looking at this and thought, this is pretty cool. This is a corn dryer. I don't even understand how. Don't get me wrong. I mean, they look like bloody corn cobs underneath. So I don't know what that is. I haven't got a clue, but it's an MA7 building. I've never used it before, but I imagine I put corn in it and it'll dry. So I do like that. I mean, that is something we could put down. Where, I haven't got a clue, though. Hopefully it won't look out of place. I mean, if it was something really simple, because I've got the spawn point there, we could put it to the back end of this, especially where there's no door. I mean, that kind of fits perfectly. It really does. Is the tip point there, though, that side, or is it all just here? Because you've kind of got a trigger in the top there. Yeah, because you could just put it there, couldn't you? Or something, or even around the back side of one of these buildings. So yeah, it's an option that we'll look into. I might test that out on another... I might start a new save somewhere and just test it to see how it works, so I don't get it wrong. But that's a nice option. But this is the one that I was looking at, which is basically a hay dryer. So, yeah, you put fresh grass in, and it'll turn it to hay. So we don't have to worry about tedding and all that stuff. It will make us a decent amount of hay. I actually think it's pretty cool, and probably something I'd see on a map like this. But again, where'd you put it? Do I put it back facing there and make a bit of a track going through? Am I expanding out too much then? If I did a track round here? I mean, that is the question, isn't it? I mean, I like the open side of this yard. I wouldn't want to block it off. So, tricky one. We could just place it over here, because we're not going to be doing much there. And we have got a door that side, which makes me think I'm going to have to come in this side, aren't I? I never thought of that. So why don't we make this a space where we can drop some hay off, but then also get onto that side. So even if it's just quite tight, like say if I just placed that there, for example, and then we get our landscaping textures out, and let's say we wouldn't want to go all the way, would we? Because it's quite happy. I'm happy with that. We could have a bit of grass there as well. But if we wanted to now, we could obviously drive that way and actually connect it in that regards, coming out this front way. And I think with the textures that we put into this, it wouldn't look too far out of place. I mean, you probably want to, I'm just trying to think, you'd need a grass patch there still, wouldn't you? Just so it doesn't look too crazy. I think that's pretty good. And it gives us the option now coming out and go around here without having to drive through a silo or round the 2 bunkers. 3 bunkers, really. Yeah, I like that. So let's just see how it's terrain edited. And we'll level it out. Just in case it's a bit too much. Because we are going to be driving on that. I know we can put a few bumps in. But we don't want anything too sharp. I think that's pretty cool. So let's just let's go to painting, just put the grass in. These are just base layer textures. Like I said, I will be layer texturing them. The grass one's not so much because obviously we just need to put some grass down, which I can do quite easily. But the ones on the front here like this, like the cobblestones, they definitely need proper texturing. Up to the rocks and stuff, especially if we've got grass here, it'll kind of grow up. We'll have like a transition point between the rock and the grass, so we'll try and do that. But I like that. I think that's pretty cool. I've never used it before, but I imagine fresh grass into one, hay comes out the other. So it'd be nice to take a look at that. And it looks like there's a back door as well we can walk into, so we'll have a sneaky gander at that before we actually use it, obviously. So let's go back to buildings. Containers. Now, depends if I want anything on the farm to store. Yeah, to store. I'm going to need water. I'm going to need a fuel tank. That's a definite. So we're going to have to place a water tank down, fuel tank down. And yeah, I was thinking like if we buy anything for feed-wise, like these are really nice. These are really good to have. Now there is one that I've got that is a bit of a mod, but it allows me to store more. Don't know if I got it activated. I don't know. I'll tell you what, first off, let's pick a fuel tank. I like that one because it kind of blends in well. So we'll go with that one. Fuel tank's got to be up here because most of the equipment's going to be definitely on that side. And I think, yeah, this is a nice spot for it. We'll obviously do a bit of texture editing around it after. But yeah, I think this is a decent spot, if any, for a fuel tank. And then water points. Now, I mean, these are hydrants. And they're simple enough, aren't they? Maybe a well. Like a well's not a bad idea, is it? Where would you put that? Would you put it in the... Where would you put the well? Let's think this through. I mean, I don't mind driving to, a distance to get to it. That's not an issue at all. What if we put it, like... I'll tell you where. We'll put it up here. And again, I don't know. This is stuck me. Part of me thought, like, over here would be a good spot for the well. But it is really out the way. But I like it. Yeah, let's stick that there. I think that goes well. No pun intended. And that's pretty good for that. So tools. Now, obviously we can have a jet wash, some wood storage points and things like that. These are things we can add in. A crane, a manure crane. That's pretty cool. Where are manure points? We haven't got one for this shed, I don't think. We need to actually put one of them down. This one, I don't think as well has got one. The only one I think that's built with one is this one for the pigs. So, yeah, manure is going to have to be put down somewhere. So that's interesting. That might be something that I can try and split between the two if I put it in the middle here. Hopefully it works that way. We'd have to find out. But let's focus on getting a jet wash. I mean, there is some decent options here. I mean, we don't want that. That's a workshop. Again, a weighing station. Don't need anything like that. I do like that, but I think, really, if we're going to go for something, we just keep it simple. And, yeah, we put it on an area where we wash. And if we do wash our vehicles in a certain spot, we can make the ground wet. So I'd say this building over here is pretty spot on for taking our vehicles up to. And yeah, doing a bit of jet washing. So if we just place that probably about there, I think that's a good spot. And I don't think we need anything else in that section. Got farmhouses, containers and all that stuff. Got water now, got fuel. I'm happy with that. Yep, happy with that. So I've been just looking at this. This is like an additional grain silo. So it's an extension for grain silos. I actually like the look of this, and I think that kind of texture, that old, weird, rusty texture goes well with this. And I think it'd be a decent thing to pop in somewhere. Now, I'm trying to think if it's just, you know, all right here. I don't want to hide them items that it comes with there. Could I just get it kind of sitting in between these two? But I think it encroaches in too much that you're going to see it. So yeah, it's a difficult one. I mean, there would be a good spot, if any. But again, them items there are going to be kind of hidden. So it's yeah, I'm struggling with this one. Where to put it? But I do like it, and I definitely think it's worth placing down. I'd probably like to see it as well from this side of the farm. So if I'm going to do it anywhere, I think it's probably better to stick it on the front side, this side of it. I think it would go well there. And it's just a shame I'm going to be hiding that stuff. But what I could do, as long as I don't get into that building, I don't think get into that building, is I could try and just have it blended in to the point. I don't know, it still looks a bit dodgy. I think we're going to have to just, yeah, we're going to have to just place it down, aren't we? That's not too bad. That isn't. I like that. And obviously we've extended out now. I mean, it would have been good if we could just get it, I don't know. I mean, we could have just bloody put it on top. As silly as that looks. Or even the side of this, like anywhere. Like, that would have been good. But I just think I can't risk it ruining that terrain editing there. But I think that's alright. I mean, we just, yeah, terrain editing, texture painting again. So let's have a quick look at this. Just to tidy it up. Obviously, we're going to do layer texturing, like I said, grass, all that kind of stuff. After, you know, we've got a few bits that we need to sort out, but I'm happy with that. I think it's good, and we've obviously expanded out. Muck, though. Menu is one that I've kind of overlooked, so let's have a look to see if we can do anything with muck. I'm also going to have a look just quickly in the productions, just to see if there's anything that's pretty cool that we could add in. I mean, that'd be cool, wouldn't it? And our own little grain mill. That would be awesome. These are the things I've not actually used much as well on FS22, so I'd love to, you know, start. A separator would be good. But obviously, yeah, that's one that we could think about. Even that, like a static TMR mixer would be pretty cool, especially with the amount of cows we've got. So that might be a nice little thing to add in. You know what I mean? And we could put it into the main yard area. I could put an area where we're actually working with silage. I mean, this would be a good spot because you've got silages and hay, and yeah, this would be a really good spot. But I think what I'll do is I'll figure out the farm first, get it built before I start putting that in, because I might have to change a bit of a layout for that to work. I mean, don't get me wrong, we could quite happily put that there, like happily, or even on the other side. I think it would be perfect, wouldn't it? Just there, for example. Like that's gonna look at home there, and yeah, no issues at all. I don't think there's anything else. What's this thing? Bloody hell, this is even better. It's like the upgraded version of it. So I've been looking at these. Dotting these around would be good, but then I've got to look after my money as well, because I still have to buy equipment, and I'm already halfway down on the budget. Now, I have been selling things and buying them and stuff, so that's not helped, but yeah, I'd rather get this farm right. If I do go over, then I go over at the end of the day. But 5 million is where I set myself. But yeah, I mean, really good to have something, wouldn't it? Like, even if it was a few solar panels sitting on a main building, like, you know, one like that there would actually look really good. But yeah, we'll have a look at stuff like that eventually. So let's go back to, we don't need any animal stuff unless we need a dog. Could get one of them, no problem with that at all. Decorations we'll have a look at eventually. There's loads of decorations that I could place down. I'll have a look at that near the end. But I'm happy with all the animals. We could do sheep, we could do, you know, horses, chickens and stuff like that. And I think chickens, if anything, was, you know, something that I'd go for. But I'd try and find a different modded version for a chicken pen. Something that kind of fits in well. I mean, MA7 does have some decent chicken sheds and sheep as well. So we could try and, you know, if we wanted to build on that, get another one of them. But I'm quite happy with the animal side of things. Don't need anything else. But the only thing I need now is the muck. Now, I'm starting to think that I should just have a look at one mod-wise, because the only option I can see in here... Now, I don't know if I need an actual silo because I haven't got one already. I think extension is... Yeah, extension's for if I just want to extend it out. I'm sure the silo is for... Because obviously these two technically haven't got anywhere for muck anyway. Like, there isn't anything like that one especially. I definitely know that that one hasn't. But I can't see muck coming anywhere else. So yeah, we might need to put something in, and to get it in between it's gonna have to be in this area. Now there is, like this one for example, but I'd have to make it diagonal. This is the problem with it, and I know I can change. I've seen the people in the first video put in the comments you can change it in the XML, but I think as well it could cause a potential problem with the way it works, and I don't want to take that risk. But I could have it like that, and like make the, obviously this, change the fence in, and have it dig into that. I like that if it was dug in, but I'd have to terrain edit first to make sure that happened. So that is an option, but I will have a look at manure heaps to see, you know, if there's a better one on offer, basically. But I think that's all right. We changed this up. We've put that in. We've put a hay dryer over there. We've got a basin in. Manure's just left. I think that's the only thing we need to place in. We've got area to wash the vehicles. We've got a place for the diesel and, yeah, a water spawn point, or a little well up here. I think that's quite good. So, the last thing I'll do before the episode ends, just because it's obviously gone on for quite some time, is I'm going to finish this section off with grass, stuff like that. It's not going to take long, but I'll put it in I'll put it in a mini time lapse, just so I've got this section up here looking like where the pig area is, so we can say that that's done, and we just need to put trees in and any bushes that we decide to put in at the end.
Too deep, like an overdose. You're the antidote. Losing sleep, I'm in too deep. No matter where I hide, you got me sleep deprived. You're the antidote. Losing sleep, I'm in too deep. No matter where I hide, you got me sleep deprived. You and me got me losing sleep. overdose. You're the antidote. Losing sleep, I am in too deep. No matter where I hide, you got me sleep deprived.
Right, so I'm quite happy with that. It's a good start, and if I think of anything else, I'll add it in. But if you watch the time-lapse and kind of gauge what I was doing, I was obviously working a lot first with this kind of water texture, this kind of dirt, kind of mud texture that was, and looking for runoff points. So I made a few runoff points from the side of the cliff, obviously there. I think this one's really good as well because it kind of runs down, and I started it to this point, and then obviously I'll carry it on when I'm over that side, working on that. I connected this bit here coming down there to, obviously we've got a runoff from here, and then I also did it coming from up here down there. You're just trying to look at the natural kind of layout of the elevations and then where you think a natural runoff point would be. I obviously can't be exact, but I'm just trying to kind of visualize it in my head. And I got one over here. And then pretty much then what I did is just try and look for spots again where you see maybe collecting water. This is obviously going to have collecting water because what it's for, which is obviously a well to get water. So definitely got to put it there. And then what I did is I went around and just tried to find points where I think grass would grow long. And if I needed to put any more low-cut grass in. I usually put the low-cut grass in first and then go over with it. So it just kind of makes the edges of it better. You can see that I've got some low-cut grass there, it gets long and then goes low again. And I was just looking for spots like that, so I put it around on the kind of cliff edges, you could say. These are obviously going to be like kind of level, but they're obviously quite rocky, so you'd have bits where you'd see grass growing on, especially when it's level ground. And then I tried to start doing this area and just make sure the edges kind of look a little bit more cut down, so there's that transition from rock to grass and it's not just a sharp, right, that's rock and then that's really high grass. So yeah, I was just trying to find the transition to that. I'm still struggling what to do with the back end of this. I can't have it like this. I'm either going to have to put a fence in or trees. Now, I don't really need to worry if I put trees in because it's not like it's blocking a view. This bit though, like that's a view and a half, isn't it? Like standing here is a stunning view. We need to make sure we keep that. I don't mind blocking that side off. I definitely think I'm going to be putting trees down that side and also trees down the bottom of here. But yeah, I mean, this texture bit, it does take the longest, but I tell you this now, it makes such an impact. I mean, look at that. Like, that's been made directly in-game without any, help from GE work. And if you take the time to layer your textures, it makes such a difference. It really does. Especially with this kind of if you've got a map and they've got added textures that you can play about with, like this one here, this kind of watery runoff, it's a massive thing. It really does make a difference. But I'm happy with that. I'm happy with it. I just need to figure out what I'm going to put down the side here. I like this bit now. I think we've improved this section a lot, filled it up with something. And I think it's starting to come together quite nicely. Again, I'll do a lot of work in between. I'll chip away at the texture painting because it's going to take quite a lot of time. So if I keep putting a few hours in, then yeah, we can get it done. But I think it's looking pretty good. Just need to find a manure heap that's going to work for both of these cow sheds. And yeah, just keep painting away until we get it done. I think the next part we'll work on, because I'm happy with this now. I'm happy with it. I don't think I'm going to put any grass on this bit until we figure out what we're going to do with it, because that's our main road entrance in. I mean, really, we could try and find an entrance going up there, but then this bit would probably just be trees. Fill it up with trees so this cliff edge doesn't look as harsh. Try and, hide it a little bit so it looks more natural. But I'm happy with this section, and I'm happy with this section. Do need to finish off the texture painting in that side. Also down there, and then all this section here needs it as well. So I'll start chipping away at that for the next episode, and I'll try and find myself a manure heap. But yeah, doing well, doing well. Grass fields and obviously trees and bushes will come at the end, but do you know what? This is looking like a decent farm. I'm actually excited to start playing on it, but we'll hopefully get there by... I said 5 episodes, but we'll see how it goes. I'd rather get it right and take my time with it, so the end product is something that I'm hopefully going to play on for quite some time. So before I end the video, I just want to say this series is now going to be replacing my Bally Springs series. Enjoyed Bally Springs a lot. It's a cracking map, but I just kind of wanted to try something different. I started getting a little bit repetitive with it for me on Bally Spring. That I just wanted to try something else. I'm obviously doing my Court Farms, my Farmland series, and I think this is just a nice change of pace, and I'm enjoying it a lot. So I'm going to focus on this one now to try and get more videos out on it. So eventually we can obviously start farming on it in that different way that we're setting up to. So yeah, this is going to replace Bally Springs now. But on that note, I am going to leave the video there. Thanks for watching. Hopefully you've enjoyed it. If you have, please give the video a thumbs up. That does help my channel out. And if you're new, hit that subscribe button. Help me to get to that 30k. And I'll see you in the next one.